Hey everyone, Seth Miranda here. This is Adorama Rewind, and this is the last Adorama Rewind. On a Tuesday, I'm switching to Mondays, so you guys can check me out there. And my IG live demo little show that I do on Instagram for Adorama will be on Tuesdays around noon from going forward. And I'm gonna go more into details on why things are switching around, but we have a lot of stuff to get through and some really cool stuff on our channels as well. And let's just get for it, let's just go for it. All right, so Canon CEO thinks the digital market will shrink further the next 2 years until we finally hit rock bottom. This is real. This went around pretty hard. So they think that Canon will shift their camera business to focus on the corporate customers. You can see all the bullet points here, but pretty much they're saying that sales have declined right here 10% a year in sales volume, especially in interchangeable single lens reflex. And they think that mirrorless products, you see right here, number 4, the mirrorless products is growing, but is a replacement for a single lens reflex. It is not adding a market as a whole. So they're just basically saying the iPhone has killed point and shoot, which we kind of all know. They think that the market for people needing SLRs and interchangeable lenses as a whole isn't really growing and it's going to shrink down, so they're going to focus on their corporate. Does this mean we're not going to see a pro level R series? I don't know. Does this mean they're going to focus more on other things than cameras as far as their digital media scanners, printers, things like that, you know, corporate type applications? So I don't know. It's interesting to hear a camera company come out and say that they're declining and they're having some issues, especially like the biggest one in the world. So we're going to keep watch on this, but let me know what you think about this. Are you a Canon user? Does this worry you? Do you think that they're not going to put the innovation into their cameras as much as you'd hope? I know that some people were expecting something more out of the R series. We don't know what's coming. There's been a lot of rumors. I'm not here to give you guys rumors, but Canon is a huge company and they have a lot of divisions and they're always dropping something. Speaking of Canon dropping something, this woman was dropped by Canon because she didn't have 50,000 Instagram followers. So Yvette Roman says that she was called up by Canon for an ad campaign, and she started making calls to, you know, get the stylist, whatever she was her crew together, you know, get the production going. She said within 20 minutes, Canon called back and said, "Oh, we can't hire you. You don't have 50,000 followers." Whoa. So I don't know why they contacted in the first place. I don't know what the ad campaign was for. I don't know too much detail as why Canon was looking at her in the first place. But is this what's happening now? Are bigger corporations looking at the market as far as the audience dictating things? And who is the audience? And what are those 50,000 followers that they're looking for? Potentially people that would buy a Canon camera? I don't know. To me, it seems pretty easy and free for someone to just go click follow. It's not really that hard of an achievement, but to get someone to go from that follow to giving up money is a huge leap, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. This kind of concerns me a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it, but it does kind of suck that she got a job from a major player in the game and within minutes was told, nah, because she didn't have followers. Are we playing the cool kids game? Is that what this is? Is it a popularity contest? I gotta know, hit me down below. But speaking of Instagram, so Apple is gonna pay photographers for its shot on iPhone contest. So if you hashtag a photo shot on iPhone before February 7th, there is a possibility that they will use it in an ad campaign for the new iPhone. They said they were just gonna do it for credit, but photo credit. But people in the industry, if you check out this, went bananas tweeting and tweeting and tweeting about how this is just wrong and how they should really compensate whoever they grab out of this contest. And Apple said, cool, we heard you, went into the agreement and changed it so that people will be compensated. How much? Don't know. But it is cool that they're hearing what's going on out there and they're respecting people enough to compensate them for using their media for their ad campaigns. So if you're interested in that, you got till February 7th to hashtag all the photos you can use shot on your iPhone, shot on iPhone, and there's possibility of them grabbing that one. In another down point in news, I'm sorry, but DJI could lose $150 million after uncovering internal fraud. So yeah, apparently inside that company, there was $150 million leaked out of it. And DJI says they're just gonna be more diligent on doing some internal investigations and things like that and trying to keep checks and balances on their employees and whoever else is inside the company to limit this. But $150 million out the door, that's a hit. That's a hit. let's talk about Olympus, because they've been putting out a bunch of stuff this month, and they're going to be doing drops every month because it's their 100th anniversary. So every month they want to drop something really out there and big. Of course, they dropped their new camera. Let's go into that. So they have the OMD-E M1X Pro Micro Four Thirds. I mean, this is a small sensor and a big camera. A lot of people critiquing it for that, but it does do 60 frames per second if you have the AF/AE locked down. There a lot of interesting ideas in this camera. Who does it apply to? I'm not really sure. When I held the camera personally, I can just tell you that I was very impressed with the internal body stabilization. It was pretty solid. Also, sorry if you guys hear noise. The air is flying in here. There's construction going up above. I'm doing this on the fly, so I apologize for all the ambient noise. Back to Olympus. I do like how they thought about the ergonomics on this thing. Let me just show you really quick. So their idea pretty much with the body was that it could be as close to the same button layout, holding it, you know, normally as you would holding it vertically. And I thought that was a pretty interesting concept. Yeah, there's a lot of room on this body. Yeah, it's got the 2 card slots, the flip out screen, things like that. But it's just kind of cool that they added a lot of buttons. And I'm actually a fan of buttons as opposed to menus. I want to quickly grab things and it's like right there for me. So there are some positives to this camera. We hear what you're saying out there about it. Maybe this camera isn't for you. If you are an Olympus user, tell me what you think about this, because I think this is really just for Olympus people out there. And we always talk about Nikon, Canon, Sony, but we never really hear from you guys. And I've been getting a lot of comments over the past months asking about what's coming from Olympus. And there it is, there's the drop. But here's something that people aren't really talking about too much. Olympus unveiled new wireless flash and commander and receiver. So yeah, it's a speed light and a commander, but what's cool about this thing is that it's dust proof, splash proof, and freeze proof down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty burly if you ask me. I don't know much more about it. I haven't tried this one. I haven't touched it, unlike the OMD, but that is pretty cool. They're making some durable things out there. I'll give Olympus some credit on a few things. And one of the things they do is really push people's imagination. If you ever go to the trade shows, the things they put out there, they really just want you to have fun and play. So this is their stab at a pro camera. Take it for what it is. So this is also a pretty cool drop. Insta360, which is a 360 camera, teamed up with Matterport, and they're actually coming together to take away the idea of using a $2,500 camera here and using the Insta360 camera for $400, and you can do a 3D mapped out layout of an architectural apartment, a house. Really good for real estate, so that you can do a 3D virtual tour and things like that. So it's becoming very accessible. $400 gets you in the game to do a 3D rendering of your apartment, or if you're trying to get it on the market, or your house, or whatever. So instead of having to do just like a street view and a bunch of rooms and have people in their head try to put it together, you can see right here that you can actually see what a 3D layout of someone's home would be like, and it can actually give you the square footage, which is crazy. Technology is pretty rad. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, so now back to Instagram. Instagram says, no, we're not hiding your photos from your followers. So look at all this. This I'm sure you all have seen on your feeds if you're an Instagram person. Pretty much they say only 7% of your followers will see your posts. What they're actually saying, what Instagram's actually saying is, no, people just have to scroll long enough to get to all the media, which is kind of crazy. So if you follow a lot of people, you only get to see the posts first from the people you engage with the most. However, if they're always coming up first, they're the people you engage with the most, therefore it makes this little vicious cycle. They're saying if you scroll enough and engage with more of the people on your feed, you'll see them more often. We've heard this before, but now that people are really starting to look at their numbers and their insights and seeing that the following just isn't matching the engagement or the reach, there's a lot of flags being raised. But the real issue is people having to sit there on their phones for even longer than they usually do to make sure they get to the rest of their feed instead of spreading out the algorithm a little bit. I'm one of those people that wishes Instagram was still chronological. It's Instagram. I miss those days. I mean, I remember having to like wait till like a certain time of the day to drop a post because I knew that's when people were waking up in New York or something like that. Or if I didn't know what was going on that night, I could just look around what's going on in my city at that moment, and I thought that was pretty awesome. Oh, all right, let's get a little uplifted here. Ektachrome is going to be coming to large format and 120. Yep. So Ektachrome got released in 35 millimeter, got re-released, I should say. It's a staple film. It's a classic film, but they put it out there for 35 millimeter, and they said it did so well, they're going to start putting it out for 120 medium format and large format formats. So check that out if you're a film photographer. I think this is awesome. I'm pretty excited. I hope that we start seeing more and more hands-on stuff. And a lot of independent companies are coming out making analog cameras and these little weird type things, especially the 3D printed large format cameras I think are phenomenal. So if you have a minute, go around Kickstarter and just see what's being made out there by these little independent companies, and then grab some of this film, because the more you guys plug into this, the more they'll keep creating more. Whoops, sorry guys. I'm hitting buttons here. I'm getting crazy. And I spoiled the next story. Let's just go to it. So Andy Warhol Polaroid self-portrait is $65,000. It's available on eBay from a Miami seller. So we all know that Andy Warhol was famous for the Polaroids, and Polaroid is awesome in general, but he rarely took photos of himself, and it's a self-portrait. Or is it a selfie? Well, just so you guys have reference, selfie actually comes from the term of cell phone, selfie, not so much self-shot. So this is a self-portrait. Of course, look at this crazy guy. You know, say what you will about Warhol if you're a fan. If you're not, let me know down below if you are. But do you think it's worth $65,000? Think of it this way: only one Polaroid exists. So that shows you what's up there. So that's what I'm going to force feed you for the news this week. There was so much stuff. I chopped out a bunch. If you're hungry for some more, go look around the blogs. But I'm just trying to pick out the pertinent stuff. It was going to get really long really quickly. So let me clue you into what's going on in Adorama universe. If you didn't know, Adorama sells gaming machines, and if you were hip to it, I asked you guys what were your favorite video games last week, and you guys didn't disappoint. But I just want to let you know that the GeForce RTX 20 series graphic card is available on pre-order in all the MSI laptops and the ROG laptops. I mean, this huge selection here. If you go to the, I'll put the link down below, but pretty much check out Adorama if you're a gamer. You'd be surprised what they carry here, and the more you guys support it here, the more they can grow the line that they carry, and we're working on some bigger things also. I can make an announcement soon. Hold tight if you're a gamer. Hold tight. I promise you, huge, big, major. It's gonna be awesome. And also, we're gonna say farewell to this guy's 2-minute tips on Adorama TV. So David Bergman, the man, the myth, the legend, is calling it a wrap on our YouTube channel as far as the 2-minute tips go, but fear not, he will be on our IGTV with me. So you can see that on IGTV. You have a ton of content here. Vanessa Joy, me doing live Q&As, live shoots with gear, and Bergman is gonna be joining this, this fleet and roster of cool stuff. So yeah, it's a different format. It's vertical. It's on a phone or an iPad. You can watch it on an iPad if you want a bigger screen. He's doing a whole new format called Ask David Bergman, and you can go to askdavidbergman.com and put in your question, and he might answer it and do a whole video just based on your question. So check that out. Okay, ooh, man, that was a lot. I promise you, big news is coming. I can't release them. We're so close, but hold tight. Rewind will be moving to Mondays from now on. I will be shooting live on Adorama's Instagram on Tuesdays from now on around noon. If you guys have been checking that out, I just did a really good one yesterday featuring Westcott. Please check that out. Don't forget, Adorama TV it uploads basically daily. And don't forget to plug into the IGTV if you're a David Bergman fan. I promise you, it's a different format, but it's gonna be worth it. I've seen the videos there. I'm pretty into it. I'm not going to leave you guys with a question this week, but I will say woe to everybody who's been leaving comments on all the Instagram, on all the Adorama rewinds with telling me exactly I can't believe how many gamers there are out there telling me how great their history in video games have been and what games they're psyched on. It's really interesting to see who gravitates to what, and there's some really surprising picks out there. I will say that I wanted to bring up this comment from Olaf M. I'm a German guy and feel deeply guilty for the crimes of Nazis, although I was born in 1970. Therefore, I think it is problematic to say beautiful footage, in quotations, when it comes to drone flights of Auschwitz. Of course, drone pictures are basically great, but can a place where millions of people were murdered be beautiful? So I brought up the drone footage that my father actually sent me, that he found a production crew, got access to Auschwitz and did drone footage. If you didn't check that out, go to last week's Rewind. Yeah, it's not beautiful as what happened there. I just think it's really important for generations to realize things have happened and the mass scale they happened. My family escaped those camps. So for me to see how enormous these grounds were, and just to see the footage itself, technically speaking, and the way it looks and the feel of it is beautiful. The weight is horrifying. And I think that if you realize that there's kids being born right now that are only 15 years old, have no clue that the Holocaust may have even happened. There's no talk of things like this anymore, and we're quickly looking at phones and swiping through things that are happening right now, but look what happened in the past. And you know, the Holocaust is just one of them. There's plenty of atrocities that have happened, but also major history points. And I think the more we go back and document what has happened, whether it's horrifying or amazing, with our newest technology, we can bring the realities of life and this world to newer generations. And I think that's really, really important. So I'm with you, Olaf, but at the same time, I do think it's beautiful, because if it wasn't beautiful to look at, it probably wouldn't get that much attention. And I think that if we just showed that footage to a kid today and didn't say that it was a concentration camp, I'm curious to think I wonder if they would even know or even have any recollection of what those train tracks were and the whole arch and the whole look of that. Because I know when I see it, it flashes in my head, because my whole life I knew about it. But I think it's important that we look back with the newer technology. So I appreciate that comment. I appreciate everybody's comments. So write me down below, what do you think about all this stuff? Let me know if you're an Olympus user. I'm pretty curious. Are you someone that uses Olympus and will be into a radio slave type speedlight? I'm curious about that. I also want to know who's out there using speedlights that needs them to be freeze proof. Are you out there in the cold shooting with them? What about the batteries? Forget about it. Let me know what you think about this whole Canon thing with the 50,000 followers and the president basically saying that they think the camera market is shrinking and they're just going to go to corporate applications. And let me know if you're a gamer and you've ever thought about looking at Adorama for your gaming needs. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys next week. Like, subscribe, bells, click all the stuff around me, blah, 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 blah. Also, let me know what you think about this new color gel I threw on the background. I'm pretty into it. It's like, all right, I'm out of here. Later.